0.1 mile. Take a right at Southeast 21st Avenue. At Southeast 21st Avenue. In 0.1 mile, take a left at Southeast Washington Street, and then take a left at McLaughlin Boulevard.
On K103, every time you go away, you take a piece of whatever that bird is.
Take a left at Southeast Washington Street, and then take a left.
I had a temporary doing payroll.
Not from accountants?
No, sir, I tried some new agency.
Call accountants. They know what we need and will match us with a skilled professional.
I'll call Bob from accountants, sir. Right after I catch my paycheck. Call accountants for your temporary accounting and finance needs. 1-800-803-8367. Accountant, a Robert Half company.
The Home Depot has a new lower price on Owens Corning EcoTouch R30 15-inch insulation. Now just $11.87 a roll. It's softer and a lot easier to handle. And the new lower price? Well, that's a lot easier on your wallet. For a better insulation job, start with better insulation. Get your hands on Owens Corning EcoTouch, now only $11.87 a roll. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. U.S. Home, see store for details.
8:16, and what a pleasure it is to welcome into the Bob Miller Show a real friend of the show, a man who has supported Bob Miller's Operation Santa Claus for many years, which of course this year in 2012 will be the Monday after Thanksgiving. We'll get that baby rolling in 2012. Former mayor of Vancouver, Royce Pollard, joins us, and Bob wanted to be here, but he's got a bad back, Royce.
Well, that's okay. I didn't want to talk to him anyway. No, I'm sorry he's not feeling well. You know, I think that goes back to when he crashed that moped he used to fool around in. And, you know, we banned him driving that thing in Vancouver after that happened.
Well, that was a smart thing for you to do, Royce. The safety of people in Clark County is immense. But, you know, I'm excited about what's going to happen on Friday, the 9th of November. We know Veterans Day is the 11th. That's on a Sunday. But you've got a big event called Symbol of Freedom. And it's going to be a special evening at the Pearson Air Museum. Tell us all about it.
Well, this is the second year that we've done this. Last year we brought a live pair of American Eagles from down south from Outdoor Images, and they were just a great hit in Vancouver. And this year we have a real national treasure again, and that's Colonel Joe Jackson, who was a Medal of Honor recipient from the Vietnam War, 1968. Joe Jackson was a C-123 pilot. Joe Jackson flew bombers in World War II. He flew fighters and jets in the Korean War, and then he was in Vietnam flying C-123s. And on a day, actually on Mother's Day, in 1968, a Special Forces camp was being overrun, and they were trying to get everybody out, about 1,000 friendly civilians and Vietnamese people and some Americans, and they were having a heck of a time. The North Vietnamese and Viet Cong had surrounded the camp. They had overrun part of the camp. 8 aircraft had either crashed or been greatly damaged trying to get everybody out. And then when they thought everyone was out, the guy who was in the air, who was the commander, said, "Okay, go ahead and bomb the place totally." And somebody said, "Wait a minute, we're still missing 3 Americans. You know, the forward air controllers that we put on the ground to get everybody out are still gone." And they couldn't find them, and they tried to call them, and finally somebody said, "You know, they are there." And an aircraft, and they were lined up. Joe Jackson was flying around, and the aircraft that was next in line went in and could not see them, and was taking a lot of fire, and didn't even stop. Eventually it just went right on straight through, and as they were leaving, somebody said, "Hey, I see them. They're hiding in the ditch right there at the end of the airfield." And you know, the next guy in line, everybody thought they were going to go home. The next guy in line was Joe Jackson, without question. He said, "Yeah, I'm ready to go," and he went in. And he did something very strange, and he used some of his fighter tactics. He landed on the opposite end. Now, he didn't come in the long way and take a long run in. He landed as quickly as he could, very close to where these 3 people were, got him on the plane, and taking a lot of fire, and immediately went down the lane and turned around. And one of the interesting things, and Joe Jackson will talk about this on the 9th, is that they fired a rocket and it skidded across the runway, broke in two and landed and stopped right at the nose of the airplane and didn't go off. He turned around and took these people off. He was on the ground less than 1 minute. And this is a big aircraft. It was an amazing feat. It's the only one that I know of that ever was recorded. Because in Vietnam, everybody had a little camera or one of these little motion picture things. And if we can find that, we're going to show that. Our Veterans Day is on the 11th. Joe Jackson is the reviewing officer for the parade. On the 9th, we will, in Pearson Air Museum at noontime, have a special luncheon in honor of Joe Jackson and symbol of freedom. He will talk about his Medal of Honor. He'll talk about the Medal of Honor, but more so he'll talk about the people who have, in fact, given their lives, because most people who receive the Medal of Honor died in the act, whatever it may be. Joe Jackson is a national treasure for America. He's a wonderful man. He's a good friend of Vancouver's. He's been here many times. He lives up around Kent, and he's a southern gentleman. He loves America. He has some great things to say. And there's another very interesting thing about Joe Jackson.
Hey, you know what, Royce?
Yeah?
We'll get to that, but we got to get to real-time traffic with Mark Dornfield just for a second.
Now, we saw a traffic alert in effect for the trip in from Vancouver. Interstate 5 southbound. A crash in Delta Park has a left lane blocked, and as a result, we are jammed up into Vancouver back to SR 500. Right when I-5 south was starting to improve, too, in from Clark County. So give yourself extra time or head over to 205 because that's looking good southbound over on the Glen Jackson Bridge. Now, if you are traveling in from 205 on 84, you will hit some slowing on and off between 205 and I-5, so you need to be ready for that. Traffic on 205 on the Oregon side, still busy southbound before Gladstone into West Lynn. And northbound Johnson Creek exit up past Powell Boulevard. 14 westbound looking better, approaching 205 as well. Out to the west side, Spencer Highway inbound, slowing uphill from 217 before the Sylvan exit. Continues slow down to 405. 217 still busy southbound between Allen and Denny. And northbound kind of on and off between Hall and City. And out of the south, I-5 north is good back in Tualatin, but slow before Capitol Highway through the Courage. Check on the traffic brought by Associated Press. The Associated Press delivers its award-winning news and photos free to your mobile device. Search AP Mobile on iTunes, Android, or visit getapmobile.com. AP Mobile, where the news gets its news. Next real-time traffic, 8:33 with Point Local 6's Charlie Canelli. Traffic alerts when they happen. I'm Mark Dornfield. Ron, back to you.
Thank you, Mark. Former Vancouver Mayor Royce Pollard involved in a very important event, November the 9th. Symbol of Freedom 2012 is our guest. Sorry to interrupt you, Royce. Continue your thought.
Oh, that's okay. Well, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this for senior veterans and people with disabilities. We have an organization in Vancouver, been here 33 years. It's called CDM. CDM are the initials of the names of the three doctors who formed this years ago. CDM provides long-term care services for seniors and people with disabilities. They run a daycare center. When Bob Miller gets here, when I get old and nasty, my wife can wheel me in there and she puts me in a daycare center. I don't have to go into a facility, and I can stay in my home too. And CDM provides that service for veterans and for other people during the day, about 40 to 60 people. But then they have 400 employees that go into people's homes and visit and help them. They talk to them, they do their laundry. It's not medical, but it allows seniors to stay in their homes as long as possible. And we know that 75 to 80% of those seniors are either veterans or their spouses, and the rest are people with disabilities. It's a great service. They need help. This is a fundraiser for them. They get some state, they get some VA, but they don't get enough in many cases.